talk to Lisa Berkey. She's the executive director of the Greater West Bloomfield Community Coalition. And let's go ahead and we thank you for being with us, Lisa. Thank you for joining us on the Oakland County MegaCast. I'm sorry, Lisa, can you hear us?
I can.
Oh,
Can you hear me?
yes, I can. Thank you so
Okay.
much for being with us. Let's just start off quickly. For the people that don't know what the Greater West Bloomfield Community Coalition does, what is your mission?
So, if you were to summarize our mission in whole, it is we provide programming for students and parents in Greater West Bloomfield to help kids grow to their greatest potential. Back when the coalition started in 2001, it really just focused on drug and alcohol prevention education. But over the years, we have evolved into so much more because so many other issues are combined with drug and alcohol issues. So we do mental health, we do internet safety, anti bullying, empowerment, coping, resilience. Like I said, anything to help kids grow to their greatest potential.
What has it been like for your organization during this crisis? I would imagine that you're seeing a lot more kids and teens in need right now.
Well, yes, there are more kids and teens and parents wanting information. When it first started, it was very difficult for us because we had so many programs, live programs planned. We take our programs into the school buildings and we bring in speakers, and we're right there helping the kids in person. So it was very, very difficult. So most of our spring programs had to be canceled, the ones that were supposed to be in the school, or change to online programs, making a quick change. Um, for our evening programs for our parents, it was easier. We started just developing online evening programs to help our parents with what they were going with, like the chaos of the house with the little ones. We had a program called Chaos Coordinator, or we did a program for we called it quarantine. It was to help parents of teens that were dealing with the quarantine. You know, the kids were sleeping more and going through depression, and they couldn't motivate them to do school, all sorts of things like that. And we also did another program for parents called Building Better Boundaries. And those were right in the springtime. We took a time off in the summer because that's what we usually do. And we wanted to give parents a break as well.
So we are joined with Lisa Berkey. She's the executive director of the Greater West Bloomfield Community Coalition. Pandemic parenting. I noticed that you guys are offering that program. Catchy wording, but so needed during this time, I would imagine.
Definitely. That one is this week, so thank you for mentioning it. And the reason timing is everything. West Bloomfield Schools starts August 26th, so we wanted to do this program the week before, even though this program is open to anyone, not just West Bloomfield residents. But we wanted to help parents prepare for whichever method they chose, the online method or the hybrid method here in West Bloomfield. We wanted them to be able to also see that they may pick a path. And, maybe as an example, their path is that they're teaching their son or daughter in the living room and say that's not working because they're distracted. Well, that's okay. Let's evaluate it and move on and change. There's things that you're going to have to change along the way in your path of online education, having them at home, or it's maybe how you're working with them, or whatever it may be. I want parents to be open that they have to evaluate the path and then possibly change it and not be so rough on themselves. This is new to everybody. So parents are going to make mistakes and then move on, and we'll figure it out.
Lisa, your organization also has worked a lot. You mentioned previously that initially it worked a lot towards preventing substance abuse issues in youth and teens in our community. And with the pandemic continuing to be ongoing through these 5 months, we've seen in adults that substance abuse issues have been on the increase. What do you do now as we're heading back into the school season? As you mentioned, the kids that are experiencing more drowsiness and depression, which are feelings that do at times become risk factors for substance abuse. What does your organization, in partnership with local school districts, do in this case to up those substance abuse prevention tactics, albeit in different circumstances?
We're going to continue our programming as before, but it will all be online. So in elementary school, we do something called Kids in Charge. It's a drug and alcohol prevention education program, 1st through 5th grade. We're going to continue that program. In middle school, we are going to continue the programming that we had planned. Again, it will just be online. We'll do a vaping education. We do also some drug and alcohol prevention with the middle school students. We bring in recovering addicts to speak to them. We are also working on possibly bringing the Kids in Charge program into the middle school so we can do ongoing drug and alcohol prevention education with them. And then same in the high school. We will continue bringing in recovering addicts. We'll be continuing our vaping education. And we also are very flexible. So if the teachers say to us, you know what, we're seeing this is the problem now, what can you do for us? We're able to find a program for them and quickly bring it into the curriculum. So we're always flexible and waiting to hear if they're hearing more of one issue than another. For example, when vaping started a few years ago, they contacted us right away and they're like, we're seeing vaping. What can you do for us? And we were able to put a program on for them.
Lisa Berkey, Executive Director, Greater West Bloomfield Community Coalition. Lisa, I'm not a parent, but I do have nieces and nephews. And I want to ask, if I'm a parent and I'm noticing a shift in different attitudes of my student or my child, how do I know when they have a problem, and how do I know it's just them going through their teen years and being difficult teens?
I would say if you have any concern at all after you've talked with them, that I would consult a therapist. It's hard for a parent to know, and with anybody, if you work with someone every day, you may not notice something that's changed in them, but someone that sees them a few weeks at a time will say, hey, you lost weight, or you got your hair cut, or whatever. So being with someone all the time makes it very difficult to notice. But if you have that feeling inside, that little something bothering you, I think at that point you should have an evaluation with a therapist.
So we are speaking with Lisa Berkey, Executive Director, Greater West Bloomfield Community Coalition. A lot of organizations during this pandemic are seeing the need for their services rise, but yet funding is always an issue. How is your organization in that area, and are you okay, or are you seeing additional resources come in because more and more people are using your services?
So our fundraiser was canceled or postponed because it was March 20 something, the week of March 20 something. So we canceled that. We have it tentatively scheduled for October, but it does look like that will be canceled as well. And if that is, we will be putting all of our auction and raffle items on an online website, so we can still try to earn some money. It's very questionable. We get funding from Oakland County Health Network. So we start our budgeting year starts in October. So we will hear shortly if Oakland County, as an example, is able to help us in the same manner that they've helped us before. We also have hospitals that are our sponsors, and we all know that hospitals are having financial issues as well. So we'll have to wait and see if they'll be able to continue funding us. So with our budget year starting in October, we're still up in the air knowing what that will be. And you're right, we're going to just have to continue programming and being financially responsible and doing our best, because the students and the parents need us, so they need the programming. So we're just going to have to continue and hopefully be able to provide what they need from us.
So you have so much experience in this area. Are you worried kids are slipping through the cracks during this pandemic because maybe people aren't recognizing their need, or they're going into a depression, or they just don't know where to find resources?
I'm concerned about everybody during the pandemic, not just kids. I think adults too, like, are going through what you said. We know that staying in the houses have caused more marital issues and family issues, because when you put everybody in the same house under quarantine for a long period of time, that's going to happen. So I'm concerned about everybody. I do know that here in West Bloomfield that they are working very hard in the schools to have programming for the kids. They've been in touch with all the kids. They're great. Just like the interview you had beforehand with Ron, and you mentioned that he's working with the kids. He's keeping his eye out on those kids, those football players as well. And we're very lucky, the community we live in. There's lots of people watching out for these kids, but it takes the village, and it takes all of us to keep our eyes and ears open so that nobody does slip through the cracks.
It takes a village. Lisa, before we let you go, anything that maybe we didn't touch on that you want to add, or can you just share how people can reach out to your organization if maybe they're listening to this or watching this and they think possibly their kid needs some help?
Sure. Our website is www.gwbcoalition.org. And on there's a variety of information about mental health, alcohol, marijuana, prescription drugs, vaping. My email's on there, but there's all sorts of information. There's also 21 coalitions in Oakland County, and there's you'll see on our website, it will connect you to the Alliance of Coalitions for Healthy Communities, and they list all the coalitions. So if you're not just from West Bloomfield and you want to know if there's a coalition in your area, you can find it there. And please, if you know anybody who wants to attend Pandemic Parenting, like you mentioned, it's this Thursday at 7:30, and there is a link on our website as well to sign up.
Thank you so much. We appreciate having you on the Oakland County MegaCast, but we also appreciate greatly for everything that you and your organization does for all of us here in the greater West Bloomfield area.